Hello YouTube and fellow radio hams. Just a quick video tutorial here on programming the MD380. This is dedicated to M0NY who's just got himself an MD380, but is also relevant to anybody that wants to get their radio set up to connect to the HUBNet system on Brandmaster, which is an all-star based system but with a crosslink from DMR. What I've done is I've just opened up a blank code plug here, so you can do this yourself. File, new, all data will be cleared. Okay, that's fine. That's given us basically a blank sheet to work with. I'd suggest if you were doing this on your own radio, you would first read from the radio, download the configuration that's in there, edit that, and then send it back to the radio. For this demo, we're just going to start from scratch, so we've got no clutter in the way. Once you've got a new default code plug, the first thing you need to do is to set your radio ID. This is your CCS7 or your DMR ID. So mine's 235183832. Okay, we can leave that. There are things to change on that, but nothing that's a showstopper, so we can close that. One of the things you do have to bear in mind or understand the concept of DMR, how it works, is we have these things called contacts, which are the way that one radio talks to another, or the network. And so when we're talking to the network, we must have a contact defined. And there's two types of contacts. There's a private call or a group call. A group call is one-to-many, and a private call is a one-to-one. Not necessarily private in respect of nobody can hear it. It's private in respect that it's not a group call. And within the Brandmaster system, these two features are used in slightly different ways. It was a system designed and developed for commercial users, but it's been taken over by radio ham, so some of the concepts won't make sense, but rest assured they all do work and have a function. So I'm just going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the three things: contacts, channels and zones. A contact is either a person, an individual, or it's a talk group. A channel is a definition of the RF side of things, so it'll be the receive transmit frequency. And the zone is like a container. It's like, if you remember back in the day with the old scanners, you'd program a channel, then you put a channel in a bank and you could scan the bank. So in this particular system, a zone is like a container that contains channels. Once you've programmed a channel, you must put it in a zone, otherwise you won't be able to access it through the radio. Okay, right, so let's go ahead and first thing we need to do is create a contact. Now, if you'd read from your radio with contacts already in here, you'll, this list may well be populated with stuff. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead here and create a contact. And this is the name which is displayed as in the list. And you could put in here HUBNet, like that, for instance, or the way I do it and the way I recommend it is give it its name, what it actually is. It's talk group 23526. The call type, it could be a private call or group call. It's a group call. The call ID is 23526. Now, whichever way you do this, or the naming convention that you use, is entirely up to you, but that's the way I recommend that you do it. When you've got a lot in there, and you've got things like Alabama link and UK calling and TAC1, it can sometimes be a bit confusing where you are. I just prefer to use the talk groups, what they are. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to create a channel. Now, there is a default one. You have to have one channel in here. So what we'll do is we'll just show you how to add another one. You right click here. Hang on a second. You go into a channel and you do add, and we've now got channel 2, and just double click on it, and it will allow us to edit this particular channel. So we'll go ahead and give this a name. It's going to be HUBNet RX frequency. I'm just going to make this up, 432.500. TX frequency 432.500. This will be the frequency that you're talking to your hotspot or the repeater, so you need to know the receive transmit frequencies. It's digital because we're going to be. It could be FM, of course, analog. We'll leave all this stuff at default. A timeout timer. Let's set that to something reasonable. 180. That's fine. Low power, since we're talking to a hotspot in this example. We'll leave all this stuff off. We'll leave all of this stuff here, all this can all stay off. Now here's the key thing: contact name. It's going to be talk group 23526. Color code. Well, this depends on how you got your hotspot sent, but in DMR speak, color code is a bit like CTCSS. So, I think there's 15 or 16 color codes. 15, yeah. No, that's 6. Yeah, there is 16. Color code 1 is, sort of pretty much standard what people use, but you could use something different. Repeater slot, well, that's not really relevant, but some hotspots, I think it's the DV4 Mini, I think needs to be 2, so we'll set it to 2. And we'll just use that as our default from now on. So that's our channel created. It's going to receive on this frequency, transmit on this frequency, and it's going to communicate with the DMR network on 23526, which happens to be the one that's connected to the HUBNet system. We can close this window. Now, the last thing we need to do is in our zone, remember I said zone's like a container that contains channels, and until we add the channel to the zone, we won't be able to access it on the radio. So we've got 2 channels on the radio at the moment, HUBNet and channel 1. So we'll just go over there and add that, and we'll just give the zone a name. My stuff. Okay, you call it whatever you want. Say you add, you could put 77 simplex in there, and you could go and add all the 77 simplex channels, add them to the zone, and then on your radio, you would go into the menu and pick the zone. 77 simplex. You can only have 16 channels in a zone, so bear that in mind. There is some limitations with it. That's essentially it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. All you need to do now is upload that to the radio, plug the radio in via the USB cable, and then click this little button here. Obviously the radio switched on, it'll upload it, and you should be good to go.